Hello, today I want to show you how to solve any type of equations with the Casio FX calculator. I'm going to give you two options. So imagine we want to solve an equation. First we'll start with a quadratic as an example, and then I'll show you with a more complicated equation. So we'll go, for example, to this equation option. And obviously, as it's not simultaneous equations or polynomial, we'll use the solver, so F3. Okay, so this should be fairly straightforward, but there's a trick here, and it's that in the solver you have to write a starting point. So what do I mean with this? First of all, for the Casio, you have to use this button here to the left of the logarithm for the variable. So you have to put, if you want to write x, so this is x squared minus 6x minus 16 equals 0. If I want to solve this, I'll just write it like this and click on enter, and it's going to ask me for a starting point. So I can write 0, for example, and then click on solve, and it'll give me a solution, -2. What if I want to do the second solution, which I know a quadratic equation has two solutions? Then I'll just click on repeat and then tell him to start on another number, for example 5, and I'll click on enter and solve, and I have the other solution. So -2 and 8 are the two solutions. The problem with this solver is that I need to know how many solutions there are, or which solution I want to find. Okay, so there is another option, which is going to menu and the first, the run matrix. And if I click on option and calculus, I have two equations which can solve, two functions which can solve equations, the solve and the solve n. I'm going to do it with both so that you can see the difference. If I click on solve n and write the same equation, x squared minus 6x minus 16 equals 0. And then I click on the closing. There's an error. Why? Because I need to write the starting point. So I'll just write the 0, comma 0, and it will give me a solution. And then if I do the same thing, so I write the solve x squared minus 6x minus 16, and I tell him to start on 5 again, then I have the other solution. Okay, but solve n works better. Why? Because if I click on solve n and write the same equation, you'll see that it'll give me I'll write it like this so that you could see that you don't have to equate it to 0. X squared minus 6x, instead of minus 16 equals 0, I've written equals 16, and I'll just close it. Okay, and if I click on enter, it will give me an alert saying that other solutions might exist, and if I click on exit, I have both solutions here, so it's easier to do it here. So I have -2 and 8. So imagine a more complicated solution. I've got this exam from a very recent exam, and basically I have this equation with logarithms. I have it drawn here. Question A says find the coordinates of A, which is a maximum, so you have to do the derivative. Question B says find the coordinates of B, which is the cutting point of the x-axis. So it's equals 0. So basically I have to solve this logarithm equals 0. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go directly to solve n, and I'm going to write logarithm of n, open bracket, x times e to the power of x plus 1 minus x to the power of 4. So this is a more complicated equation. Remember, it's a P2. You can use your calculator. Equals 0. And I'll just close it. Again, the same alert. And it gives me the two solutions, 0 and 1.09. 0 is the one on the left, and my b is the 1.09. As it's an IB, I have to put three significant figures, so 1.10 would be my solution, the solution they're looking for. Okay, if we want to do it with the solver, then again, I can go to this equation. I can go to the solver, which is F3. I'm going to delete this, yes, and I'm going to write my equation, logarithm of, open bracket, x times e to the power of x plus 1 minus x to the power of 4 equals to 0. Okay, so again it will ask for a starting point. So I could just write anything, but I know that my starting point should be 1 because this is near 1. So I can be a bit clever and write 1, click on enter solve, and I get there my solution, 1.0988, which would be 1.10 for the solution of the IP. Okay, so with this method, any of the methods I've shown you, you can solve any type of equation in your Casio calculator for the IPs, especially, or if you're doing it for anything else with the same method. And it comes very handy, especially in the IPs. You need to very frequently solve complicated equations, and this is a very handy tool.